Hi everybody, it's me, GhostCritic, and thank you for joining me for another Friday comic book review video. For those of you who have been watching my previous videos, you'll have seen what I pulled on Wednesday out of my stack, and here I am to give you my thoughts and opinions of them. I had 6 books that I picked up this week, so we'll have 5 in this video, and as you're watching this and listening to it, the pick of the week video will be uploading behind the scenes, so don't forget to check that out too. The keen-eyed and loyal viewers among you will probably be able to work out, at least by the end of this video, what my pick of the week is before it goes up. Well done to you. So let's kick off, and unfortunately we're kicking off with Batman Eternal issue number 42, and I say unfortunately because I've been reliably informed that there are about 11 more issues of this series to go, and it shows. We have the wrap-up very quickly, very conveniently, of the Nanobot storyline and the emergence of Harper Row as Bluebird. She is all kitted out now and ready to go to this warehouse, break out Batgirl, Red Robin and Red Hood once they were taken over in the last issue by the Nanobots. And I realise that she is shown here as just starting out as this superhero, and she's not quite got the hang of it, whether it's leaping from building to building or pulling out the wrong bat gadget out of her utility belt. But she comes across as a buffoon, and that is not what Harper Row is. I forget who wrote this. It looks like it could be Ray Fawkes, but he got the character all wrong. I didn't like this at all. And while there's a kind of cute shot of her with the Mad Hatter's hat on and it all looks very stylish, that's more to do with the art and the composition of that page rather than the actual storyline. She just basically sounds like a female Robin with the clever quips and the baiting that we are used to with the people like Tim Drake when he was young, and Jason Todd and Dick Grayson, all those. So it's not incredibly original, and I was just disappointed at how quickly it was all kind of wrapped up, with Batman swooping in right at the end, because we can't have 2 issues go by with a title called Batman Eternal and not have Batman turn up. On the flip side, we get the story with Stephanie, spoiler in it, and she finds out who her kidnapper was from the last issue. And while we all thought it might have been Catwoman, because we know she eventually lands in her claws from the Batman issue 28 in the future of Batman Eternal history, that spoiler, is a prisoner of Catwoman, but it transpires that it's not that. It is in fact her mother attempting to save her and make their escape out of Gotham, so all these kind of vigilantes, all these super criminals will stop trying to kill her daughter. At first it feels kind of creepy and sinister, like spoiler is too trusting of her mother given her father and how bad he's been to her, and you just wonder if everything is, you know, on the straight and narrow. And it isn't until you find later on in the book the mother tied and gagged to a chair that, yes, finally Catwoman does make her appearance. Selina Kyle has got her woman, so to speak. I I am getting incredibly disappointed issue after issue with this series. I'm kind of just buying this out of habit now, and knowing that there is only 11 more issues to go, I'm not gonna, you know, stop now. I'm gonna at least make it till the end of this particular volume, because it looks like nothing is going to get wrapped up at the end of this, and it's probably just a climax for the next series. But what I think it has shown is that Scott Snyder is unable to manage a storyline of this magnitude. His name may be on the top of these creators, but I don't think he's spending enough time with the other writers in plotting this in a coherent and entertaining and enjoyable way. I can see him coming in at the end of this series, in the last story arc, swooping in as the main writer to tie this series off, and everyone will go, wow, he's so great, forgetting the drudge and the dredge and the dirt that we've had to cope with through the last maybe 10 or 20 issues. This has been patchy at best, and I'm just getting thoroughly disappointed with this weekly book. Unless something absolutely fantastically amazing happens at the end of this series, I won't be on board for the next one. We have Spread issue 5, and we're here again with another bloody gore fest as the Spread attempts to make its way around this small community civilization that's built itself kind of a little town. And there's blood, there's guts, there's gore, there's horror, but amid all this chaos, everybody kind of stops when they see Molly, who's looking after the baby, who can kill this Spread just through their kind of bodily fluids, use the baby to ward off a crowd of people that have been infected by the Spread. And of course, everybody wants that baby now, and Molly unfortunately is left to fend for herself, while No, our main male character throughout the series, runs after Blondie. I forget what his name is, but the long blonde haired guy, as he tries to make his escape, and you wonder why No is leaving Molly stranded as everyone tries to grab for the baby and have a cure basically to the Spread. And well, the last page explains it all. I'm liking this book, but purely on a visceral level. The story lacks meat to the bone, and I need that pushing on a bit more. Maybe once we get out of this kind of little community and No moves on, we might get a bit more backstory about and kind of history about this Spread, how it originated, where it's come from. But at the moment, the story feels a little stagnant, with each issue just trying to outgross the last one. I'm still enjoying it though. Gonner's issue number 4, and it's such a shame that so many people don't like the art style in this book, because it is a cracking story. It's full of kind of mythological creatures, it's got cults, a voice from beyond the grave, it's got cops and tactical squads, it's got creepy mansions with danger hiding behind every corner, and in the middle of all this there are these poor 2 children whose parents have just been brutally murdered on TV as they watched. And it's just a fantastic story. It really packs a punch. The art, I think, is really good, and it's right up my street. It is very comic booky. It is very exaggerated. But I think it very much works with the characters, and especially the monsters that are portrayed in this. Everything is pretty chaotic. There's like huge tentacle women having sex, I think, in a little history backflash. flashback, not a backflash, but I'm just really enjoying this. It's fun, and that's just basically what I'm getting out of this, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's Fables, issue 148, and with now only 2 more issues to go, Bill Willingham delves into the history of Rose Red and her family, particularly her mother, and we realise how murderous a clan this family is. The premise is that Rose Red's mother was a part of a family of at least a dozen other daughters and sisters, and the idea in this is that the girls all have to kill each other until there is one remaining, and they gain the powers of all the other sisters. And so Bill Willingham in this issue tells the story how the sisters plot and connive and build these traps and poison and basically kill each other to have a piece of the power. But there's one person who doesn't want part of this killing, and that is Rose Red's mother. I think her name's Leody or Leandri. And so she makes a deal with the other sisters and decides to leave the family home and just forget about everything that's behind her. Now, it does make it interesting in that obviously Rose Red has a mother, she also has a sister. How many other sisters were there? Have Snow White and Rose Red killed their fellow sisters from their generation? And of course it ultimately means there has to be a fight, perhaps to the death, of Rose Red and Snow White, which, if it happens, very much looking forward to. However, Snow White has got other problems to deal with. Her husband, Big B, is being controlled and is on a murderous rampage, and she realises now that Big B is going to go after their children. So she dons her black armour and off she flies for what is going to be another big smackdown, or potentially between husband and wife. Just another fantastic story. You would think Bill Willingham would leave the backstory, the history that has so enriched this title alone with only a few more issues to go, but he's still delving in there, and I love him for it. Just another fantastic issue of Fables. Finally, before my pick of the week video, it's Powers issue number 1, a new volume of Bendis and Oeming's series. And I have to say off the bat, this is not particularly new reader friendly. You have to have at least a little bit of knowledge about what has been going on in the last volumes. However, if you want a comic book that really does pack a punch and it's not afraid to laugh at itself, then Powers is the book for you. Be brave, pick it up, because it's still a lot of fun. For those of you who don't know what Powers is, it's basically a kind of police procedural book where we have this police force who investigate and, more often than not, takes down super criminals. All the main characters, they all have secrets that they're trying to hide from each other, and Bendis has always been great at peeling back these secretive layers and pushing stories forward. And it is just a fantastic read. In this title we have our 2 main strong female characters, Dina and Sunrise the detectives, investigating a mass murder on a boat that appears to be Powers related. And we know, because we've already seen the devastation happen, and it does look that there is a shadowy evil Powers on the loose. The only question that you really have if you're a long-term reader of Powers is, Where is Christian Walker? This was Dina's partner at the police force, who originally had powers, then was depowered, then was given powers by some kind of space, celestial, godlike beings. And they were meant to be used to protect the Earth. But in the last series, Christian kind of abused them and went against the rules of using the powers he was given. But we do, in the last double page spread, find out where Christian is, and right now I think he's having a little bit too much fun to be worried about coming back to his old job. If you're a fan of Bendis and his way of telling a story, you'll love this. If you're a fan of Oeming's art, so we're talking, you know, obviously past Powers issues, the Mouse Guard, his new series, Synergy, then this will be right up your alley. I thought it was a great first issue. If it wasn't for my pick of the week, this probably would have been it. So thank you all for watching until this very second. It's been great reading my comics this week. Some great stuff in there. Of course, disappointing at the beginning. If you're new here and you liked what you saw, hit the subscribe button. Then you won't miss out on any more of my videos. Give this video a big thumbs up. And in the comment section down below, let me know what you're thinking of Batman Eternal. Is it turning into a damp squid? Are you still picking up the gore-infested spread? Did you pick up Powers? Is this the first time you've read it, or are you a long-term reader? Are you happy with what you read? So, until I see you next in my Pick of the Week video, ta-ra!